the silent thief of peace. Overthinking is an invisible storm, one that rages within the mind, draining energy, causing anxiety, and pulling us away from the present moment. Have you ever found yourself replaying past mistakes over and over, wishing you could change them? Or do you constantly worry about the future, fearing the unknown and trying to predict every possible outcome? This cycle of endless thoughts can feel like a prison, trapping us in a world of what-ifs and should-haves. But what if I told you that peace is within your reach? What if the key to quieting the mental noise has been available for over 2.500 years? Buddhism, one of the world's oldest spiritual traditions, offers profound wisdom on how to break free from overthinking and cultivate inner peace. These teachings are not abstract concepts. They are practical tools that can transform the way we experience life. By applying them, we can let go of unnecessary worries, live in the present, and find true serenity. In this guide, we will explore 6 powerful Buddhist teachings that can help you break the cycle of overthinking. But we won't stop at philosophy. We'll also dive into real-life applications, personal insights, and practical steps you can take today to regain control of your mind. Let's begin this journey together. Chapter 1. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. Focus on the present. One of the greatest causes of overthinking is our tendency to live in the past or future. We regret past mistakes, replay embarrassing moments, or wish we had made different choices. At the same time, we constantly worry about the future, about things that haven't happened yet and may never happen. Buddha once said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." These words contain a profound truth. The past no longer exists. The future is not yet here. The only time that truly exists is now. If we can train ourselves to fully experience the present moment, we will free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. The story of the 2 monks and the river. To understand the power of living in the present, let's explore a famous Buddhist story. 2 monks, one elderly and one young, were traveling together. Along the way, they came to a river where they saw a woman struggling to cross. The older monk calmly lifted her up and carried her across to safety. Afterward, the 2 monks continued their journey in silence. Several hours later, the young monk, who had been deep in thought, finally spoke up. "Master, why did you carry that woman across the river? We monks have taken a vow never to touch a woman." The elder monk smiled and replied, "I put her down at the riverbank hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?" The young monk had been holding on to the past, allowing it to consume his thoughts. Meanwhile, the older monk had let go and moved on. This story perfectly illustrates how we create suffering by clinging to the past. When we hold on to regrets, grudges, or mistakes, we burden ourselves with unnecessary weight. The way to free ourselves is to let go and focus on the present moment. How to let go and live in the now. Letting go of the past and future is not easy. But with practice, it becomes possible. Here are 3 practical ways to start. Practice mindfulness. Pay close attention to your current surroundings. Notice the sensation of your breath, the feeling of your feet on the ground, or the sounds around you. Each time your mind drifts to the past or future, gently bring it back to the present. Use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique when your mind starts racing. Ground yourself with this simple exercise. Identify 5 things you can see. Identify 4 things you can touch. Identify 3 things you can hear. Identify 2 things you can smell. Identify 1 thing you can taste. Repeat a present moment mantra. When you catch yourself overthinking, say to yourself, I am here. I am now. I am present. Repeat it until your mind settles. When you make these practices a daily habit, you'll start to experience life more fully and reduce the unnecessary suffering caused by overthinking. Chapter 2. Thoughts are like clouds. Let them pass without clinging. Imagine looking up at the sky and seeing clouds drifting by. Some are light and fluffy, while others are dark and stormy. But no matter how big or heavy they seem, they eventually pass, revealing the clear blue sky behind them. Buddhist teachings compare our thoughts to these clouds. Thoughts come and go. Some bring joy, others bring fear or sadness. But none of them last forever. The problem is, we often cling to negative thoughts, giving them power over us. The story of the burning house. Buddha once told a story about a man who woke up to find his house on fire. Instead of escaping immediately, he stood there, thinking, "Why is my house burning? Who started the fire? Could I have prevented this?" By the time he finished overanalyzing, it was too late. He had been consumed by the flames. This story illustrates how we allow thoughts to trap us in suffering. Instead of taking action or letting go, we get stuck in endless analysis, making things worse. How to stop overthinking and let thoughts go. Here's how you can practice letting go of thoughts like passing clouds. Label your thoughts. When an anxious thought arises, label it. This is worry. This is regret. This is self-doubt. By identifying thoughts, you create distance from them, reducing their power. Use the river technique. Imagine your thoughts as leaves floating down a river. Instead of grabbing them, simply observe them as they pass by. This teaches you not to get attached. Practice deep breathing. When you catch yourself overthinking, take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold for a few seconds, and slowly exhale. This shifts your focus back to the present. By training yourself to let go of thoughts instead of clinging to them, you will cultivate a calmer and more peaceful mind. Chapter 3. The root of suffering is attachment. Learn to let go. One of the core teachings of Buddhism is that attachment is the root of suffering. We suffer not because of external events, but because we cling to things, ideas, people, material possessions, or even certain emotions. Think about it. We want things to last forever. But nothing is permanent. We want people to behave a certain way. But they are unpredictable. We try to control life. But life is ever-changing. This attachment to control and certainty fuels overthinking. The story of the monkey and the trap. In an ancient parable, hunters in the jungle set a simple trap for monkeys. They place a jar with a narrow opening and put a piece of fruit inside. When a monkey reaches in and grabs the fruit, its fist becomes too large to pull out of the jar. The monkey refuses to let go of the fruit, and in doing so, it traps itself. If only the monkey would release the fruit, it would be free, but its attachment keeps it stuck. We do the same thing in life. We hold on to grudges, fears, expectations, or regrets, and these attachments trap us in cycles of overthinking. How to let go and find peace. To free yourself from suffering, you must practice letting go. Here's how. Practice detachment. Remind yourself, nothing is permanent. Everything changes. This includes emotions, relationships, and material things. The more you accept this, the less you'll cling to unnecessary worries. Use the release technique when a stressful thought arises. Imagine holding it in your hands. Then, mentally open your hands and let it float away. This symbolic act helps train your mind to release attachments. Declutter your mind and space. Physical clutter can lead to mental clutter. Try simplifying your surroundings, and notice how a cleaner space leads to a calmer mind. Once you stop grasping at what you can't control, you'll feel lighter and more at peace. Chapter 4. Suffering is optional. Change your perspective. Buddha taught that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. This means that events themselves do not cause suffering, our reaction to them does. For example, two people may experience the same setback. One falls into despair, while the other sees it as an opportunity to grow. The event was the same, but their perspective determined their level of suffering. The story of the two arrows. Buddha once asked his disciples, "If a person is struck by an arrow, is it painful?" They replied, "Yes, Master." Then he asked, "If a second arrow strikes the same spot, is it even more painful?" Again, they answered, "Yes, Master." Buddha explained, "In life, we cannot always avoid the first arrow. But the second arrow, our reaction, our overthinking, our self-inflicted suffering, is optional. Most of our suffering comes not from what happens, but from the stories we tell ourselves about it." How to reduce self-inflicted suffering. To break free from unnecessary suffering. Try these steps. Shift your perspective. Instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Practice radical acceptance. Instead of resisting pain, accept it. Say to yourself, "This is what's happening right now. And that's okay." Acceptance reduces suffering. Stop the "what if" spiral. When you catch yourself overanalyzing a situation, pause and ask, "Is this thought helping me? Or hurting me?" If it's not helping, let it go. By changing your perspective, you take back control of your emotions and free yourself from unnecessary overthinking. Chapter 5. You are not your thoughts. Observe. Don't identify. One of the greatest Buddhist insights is that you are not your thoughts. Imagine sitting by a river, watching leaves float by. Each leaf represents a thought. Some are positive, some are negative, but you are not the leaves, you are the observer, watching them pass. The problem arises when we identify with our thoughts. We believe, "I am anxious, I am a failure." But these are just passing mental events, not our identity. The story of the angry man. One day, a man approached Buddha in anger, yelling insults. Buddha remained calm and asked, "If someone offers you a gift, but you refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man replied, "To the giver." Buddha smiled. "Then I do not accept your anger. It remains yours." This story teaches that we don't have to accept everything our mind tells us. We can simply observe thoughts without attaching to them. How to detach from thoughts. Practice thought awareness throughout the day. Pause and ask, "What thoughts are present right now?" Just observe without reacting. Use the cloud meditation. Imagine your thoughts as clouds drifting by. Instead of engaging with them, just watch them pass. Challenge negative thoughts. When you have a negative thought, ask, "Is this 100% true? Is there another way to see this? More often than not, negative thoughts are distortions of reality. When you stop identifying with every thought, your mind becomes a place of peace rather than a battlefield. Chapter 6. Inner peace comes from simplicity. Less is more. In our fast-paced world, we are bombarded with information, responsibilities, and distractions. This overload fuels overthinking. Buddhist wisdom teaches that simplicity leads to clarity. When we simplify our lives, physically, mentally, and emotionally, we create space for peace. The story of the Zen master's cup. A student once visited a Zen master and began talking about his knowledge of Buddhism. The master silently poured tea into the student's cup. When the cup was full, he kept pouring, causing tea to spill over. The student cried, "Master, stop, the cup is full." The Zen master replied, "Like this cup, your mind is too full. You must empty it to receive new wisdom." We fill our minds with excess information, worries, and distractions. To find clarity, we must empty the unnecessary. How to simplify your life and mind. Declutter your mind, reduce distractions. Limit social media, news consumption, and unnecessary information overload. Prioritize what truly matters. Ask yourself, what are the top 3 things that truly matter in my life? Focus on these and let go of the rest. Embrace less is more. The simpler your life, the clearer your mind. Cut out unnecessary commitments and mental clutter. When you simplify, you create space for calmness and wisdom to emerge. Conclusion. The path to inner peace starts now. Overthinking is a habit, but like any habit, it can be changed. By applying these 6 Buddhist teachings, you can train your mind to let go of unnecessary worries and embrace the present moment. Quick recap of the 6 teachings. Live in the present, the past is gone. The future is uncertain. Let thoughts pass like clouds. Observe. Don't cling. Detach from attachments. Freedom comes from letting go. Shift your perspective. Suffering is optional. You are not your thoughts. Watch them. Don't become them. Simplify your life. Less clutter. More peace. True peace is not something you find outside. It is something you cultivate within. And the best part? You can start today. Which lesson resonated with you the most? Let me know.